Today we are making shepherd's pie. This is an easy recipe that you can make from most ingredients you already have. First, you'll need to prepare the potatoes, which go on the top. Boil your potatoes on the stove in salted water for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're soft, and then drain them. Put them back in the pan and add 4 tablespoons of butter. Then you want to mash your potatoes up. I left the skins on mine because I just had really thin skins on these ones, but typically what you'd want to do is peel your potatoes so that they are fully free of that skin. Then you'll want to add about a cup of milk, a little bit at a time, until it reaches the consistency that you want. We'll be adding a little bit more milk later just to finalize the texture, but for now we're just looking for a smoother mashed potato. I'm seasoning here with salt and pepper, just to my liking, and giving it another good stir. Next, we need to get the filling ready, so we're going to put 4 tablespoons of butter on the stove to melt. We're going to then add our onions and our carrots and let them cook over medium to medium-high heat for about 4 minutes. Next, we'll be adding our green beans and our frozen peas. We will be putting these in the pan, stirring them together, and then another 4 minutes to cook these. The next step is to add your ground beef. Now, I pre-cooked this ground beef at the beginning of the week because I was making several recipes that required ground beef, and I got a bulk amount of that. But you could brown your beef and then add it to this as well. I'm adding about 2 cloves or so of minced garlic, giving that a good stir and combining it. Optionally, if you like to add in Worcestershire, which I do, you can add a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce for flavoring, and also a few shakes of rosemary or thyme, or both if you like both. I just happen to have these, and so adding those in for a little extra flavor. Otherwise, just salt and pepper is fine too. Then you're going to add in about a half a cup or so of broth. The goal here is to just add a little bit of moisture to this mixture and get it simmering. Meanwhile, go ahead and grease the bottom of your 9x13 dish that we'll be baking it in. And then we need to get our cheese ready. Now, I recommend using block cheese for this instead of the pre-shredded because it doesn't contain all of the cellulose and other anti-caking items that they put in there so that the shreds stay separate. So this just makes it a little extra creamy. Add about 1 cup of that shredded cheese. I use sharp cheddar cheese to your mashed potatoes and give it a good stir until all of that cheese is melted in. And then we're going to adjust again for consistency by adding a little bit of milk at a time until we get a fairly smooth and moist mashed potato. We don't want it runny, but we want it smooth. Salt and pepper again to taste and give it a good stir. By now then, your meat and vegetable mixture should have absorbed most of that broth. You can go ahead and dump that right in the bottom of your baking dish and spread it around evenly. And then you'll be looking to top this with your mashed potato mixture. This has cheese in it and butter in it and milk and all the good things. So when you spread this on there and put it in the oven, it's going to brown up just a little bit from those fats and sugars. So go ahead and spread it on evenly and then throw it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 35 minutes. Something I decided to do just sort of on a whim was make a little bit of gravy just for a little bit of sauce to go on top because I don't like ketchup on mine like my kids do. So really just doing this by the seat of my pants, but a tablespoon of butter, melt that up, add a tablespoon of flour and stir that together for about 1 minute. This is going to make kind of a roux, almost like a paste here, and you're just cooking the flour until it's no longer raw. Then take about 1 cup of chicken broth, which is what I just happened to have left in this quart, and stir it around until you get all of the flour chunks out. And within about 3 to 5 minutes after that, it should thicken up nicely for you, and you want it gravy consistency. And then that's it. You're done. Take your shepherd's pie right out of the oven. You can see the meat on the bottom, potatoes on the top. This makes a really great dish. Just put a little of that gravy on top, and we served with a side of homemade French bread. This is a very satisfying dish and definitely fills you fast. We ended up having a whole half of the 9x13 left over. I hope you give this a try and love it as much as our family did. Thanks again for joining me. See you next time.